Hey guys, Mustang in here bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we have the Extreme Z battle event coming up for LR, Goten and Trunks. At the time that this video goes up, the event will be coming out in 7.5 hours. I will be live streaming it as well, so keep an eye out on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that bell to get notifications. Follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff. I do post everywhere when I am going live, but I will be streaming this event when it comes out, so hopefully I will see you there. But yeah, LR, Goten and Trunks. So LR EZAs, as we know, you need the link Legendary Power in order to do the big damage. So obviously you want to bring as many LRs as possible. But, as always, there is a specific category in which the units will take less damage, therefore making it a lot easier to get through the event when you have a team built around that category. So, the category for this one is Gifted Warriors. Now, with LR Extreme Z battles, you don't get a certain typing that becomes unusable, because obviously, you know, even though some categories do have a lot of LRs, because these are leaning towards you running more LR heavy teams, once they start locking out certain typings, it would make the team really difficult to build for people who don't have like every single unit in the game. And then some categories just don't even have enough LRs if you start excluding 1 or 2 typings. But Gifted Warriors is obviously a very interesting category, because when this EZA came out on JP, obviously, we had not had Saiyan Day yet, so we had not had the release of Margin Vegeta, which is going to make this very interesting. So, with all my team building guides, you guys know, if you're not new here, I go over my top picks and my honourable mentions. If there's any units that you think I missed out or that I should have talked more about, let me know down below in the comment section and we can continue the discussion there. And of course, if you do find this guide helpful at all, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, starting off with the leaders, as I was saying, Margin Vegeta kind of changes the landscape of what this EZA is going to be like for a lot of people. Because if you pulled Margin Vegeta, obviously he is the only 200% category leader that we have on Global. But his leader skill is for Majin Buu, Saga and Vegeta family units who are in the Gifted Warriors category. So obviously you can run a full Gifted Warriors team that's getting a full 200% leader skill buff, and then even without bringing a ton of LRs, this event is going to be super easy. So obviously you want to bring a Trunks on the team so you can get the intro animation and get the extra 30% damage reduction for Margin Vegeta. And then Margin Vegeta is just very good. As long as you pick up enough orbs, he can be runnable in slot 1, but post super attack, his defense is more than good enough. If he receives 6 attacks, you can use his active skill, which does a nice amount of damage and gives him guaranteed crits for the rest of the turn. Obviously with EZAs, depending on where the attacks are spanned out, it's not super easy or that common to get attacked 6 times in the first turn, and especially in the earlier stages, an Extreme Z battle doesn't really go on for that many turns. So there's probably not going to be a huge amount of stages where you do actually get to use the active skill, but even if you have him as like a floating off rotation unit, his leader skill is going to make this Extreme Z battle much, much easier. Now, obviously, if you don't have him, the actual Gifted Warriors category leader in terms of Dokkan Fests is the physical Super Saiyan Goten and Trunks. Obviously, they are still a very, very good unit. They basically get all of their stats on super attack, so you can't really use them as a slot 1 unit. But as long as you have another Trunks or Goten on the team, or Krillin, then you get their unit super attack. They can do a very nice amount of damage. They have their active skill that you can activate when there is another Kid Trunks or Goten in the same turn starting from turn 3, which obviously in an EZA, very doable. That gives them 6 ki and a 100% chance to dodge for the turn. That then factors into their passive where they get an extra 10% attack and defense up to 50% and chance to dodge 7% up to 30 with each dodge that they do. So the ideal scenario is if you get to turn 3 and there's like 4 or 5 attacks in one slot, you just put these guys there, activate their active skill, they dodge all those attacks, and then they're going to be nicely built up. So if you don't have the Margin Vegeta, obviously these guys are the next go-to for the leader skill. Obviously, there are other ways to build full teams of Gifted Warriors. Like you could run a Hybrid Saiyans team with Tech Ultima Gohan, who I haven't included here because obviously he's not a Gifted Warrior, but you can quite easily use him to then run a full Hybrid Saiyans Gifted Warriors team. This is just going over some of the units from the category who will be the best to use, and these guys definitely are the best backup leader if you want to run a full Gifted Warriors team, because obviously that gives you access to all the other units on the category as well. So the STR Goten and Trunks that released with Margin Vegeta are a Gifted Warriors lead for 3 key and 130. So if you're fairly new but you did summon for Saiyan Day, there's the possibility you have these guys and not the Margin Vegeta as your best Gifted Warriors lead. For me personally, I don't usually like to run leaders that are lower than 150. So again, if these guys were your best Gifted Warriors lead, I would then potentially start thinking about running like a Hybrid Saiyans team or a Majin Buu Saga team or something like that. And then, of course, we also have the Tech Goten, who is a Gifted Warriors lead for 120. He's also the Gifted Warriors support unit for 3 key and 40% attack and defense. So regardless of how you build the team, as long as he fits under whichever leader you're going to use, definitely recommend bringing this guy. He gives that support, he has type advantage. And on the 200% team, if you have Margin Vegeta, he's actually still pretty decent in terms of his own defense and everything once he gets built up. So he's definitely a must bring on the team. But then moving into some of the units, obviously there's a lot of Vegeta units. Oh, this is a Vegeta and Exchange Goku, but there's a lot of these units that fit under Margin Vegeta's leader skill, who are just going to be ridiculously good in this event, right? Because these guys, they're much better after they super attack, so slot 2 or 3, they're just going to be a huge damage dealing unit on this team. They do also have the revival, so if you are at HP 29% or less at the start of the turn, you can get the revive with the 70% heal. So considering you can't heal in an EZA with items, this is obviously something that's very, very useful. So this unit can definitely be very powerful here. Then we have the Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. Obviously everybody memes about this guy, especially because he is an anniversary LR, but he obviously feels like he dropped off rather quickly. But on the 200% Margin Vegeta team, obviously he can be very good. He builds up damage reduction as he takes hits, so you can just put him in slot 1, let him soak up a bunch of the attacks, and then he does have that 50% chance to crit on super, which stacks. So if he gets additional supers, they are guaranteed crits, and of course he has a chance to additional in his passive, so even at 55%, he can double super, so he can be a very solid choice. Then we have this guy. I love this unit. I did a 200% team showcase for him. His awakening is just so, so good. The Tech Super Saiyan 3 GT Vegeta. He is super good. He builds up after receiving attacks and performing attacks, so he's a unit because he has type advantage. You can quite easily put him in slot 1, get him to get some build up, and then he's going to be doing really solid damage. I can't stress enough how great this unit is, and because he's tech, he's just so good for this event. So even if you're running any other leader that just is Gifted Warriors in general, or you're running like a pure Saiyan, any team you're going to run that this guy could fit on, I think he's like a top pick for sure, even though he's not an LR. Next up we have Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, who obviously got his EZA fairly recently, so you could use him as a leader to run a pure Saiyans team and then just run a bunch of these Vegetas, so that's a very viable option as well. He's going to be super good defensively after getting off his attacks, so he's very, very good, and of course once he transforms, he just becomes even more powerful, so very, very solid option. Some of these Vegetas are just absolutely busted, and when you consider that they're all on that 200% team, that team will absolutely annihilate this stage. So next up we have the LR Margin Vegeta. Whilst his EZA not as great as some of the other LRs, he's still pretty good. He's going to be decent on this team, especially if you're running the 200% team and you brought like a Kid Trunks, so he's getting some of his buffs. He can be very good. Obviously he's not as good as he could have been, but he's definitely a solid unit, and he's another LR, so obviously getting that legendary power link active so you can do a little bit of extra damage, so he can be a solid choice as well. Then next up we have the AGL Caulifla. So obviously she's not on the 200% team, but she is on Gifted Warriors. She has the built-in chance to dodge and a built-in chance to counter super attacks, which is really good. She's kind of like a backup. She's probably the first honourable mention, I would say. If you're looking for that last unit to fill the team of Gifted Warriors, she's definitely a solid option. Next up we have the AGL Goten and the Physical Trunks. These two can work super, super well as a rotation together, regardless of whether it's on the 200% team or not. They just work super well together. They give each other support. Their EZAs were really, really good. So even on the non-200% team, very, very solid rotation. And then, of course, if you are running the 200% team, this guy counts as your Trunks. He counts as the Kid Trunks if you want to run Margin Vegeta. So very, very good option. And they can work as a rotation together as well. Once they're built up, their defense is incredibly good. So very, very solid option for these two to be a rotation. Next up, we have the GT Vegeta, the Int GT Vegeta. He's an orb changer, so he can help out units like Margin Vegeta. Links up super well with that GT Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta as well, because they have links like the GT. So very, very good, of course, on the 200% team as well. Has the active skill that you can do after performing 4 or more super attacks. So in an easy A, you're probably not going to see this unless he double supers on like both of his like first 2 turns. But that's a nice little way of doing a little bit of extra damage. But of course, the GT Super Saiyans are pretty notorious for not having the most powerful active skill attacks. But any little bit of free damage is always nice in an event like this, so he's very solid as well. Next up, we have the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta that transforms into Margin Vegeta. Obviously, he's the best link partner for the Int Margin Vegeta. I don't think you could make a full Super Saiyan 2 and Resurrected Warriors team of Gifted Warriors, but you could use him as a leader. It just would be a little bit more tricky, but he is a very solid unit. Obviously he has type advantage, so you don't need to worry about when he transforms. His orb requirements are all revolved around him getting effective against all types and then guarding, which he doesn't need to do against an AGL enemy, so he's definitely a solid pick. But moving into some of the non-Vegeta type units, the Easy A for transforming Frieza is a unit that you could run as a leader with his Extreme Class 3 key and 130 to stats, because you can make a full Extreme team out of Friezas that are all on Gifted Warriors. There is a better leader skill option, but we'll go over him in a second. So this guy's obviously going to be very good. He's got type advantage. He does a lot of damage. His defense is good after he attacks. He heals you at the start of the turn. And obviously as he transforms up the various stages, he just gets more and more powerful. Because an Easy A is not super long, you're probably never going to see him get past 3rd form, if you even see him get to that. But he's going to be very, very good. And then, of course, we have Golden Frieza. You can use him or the AGL one. The Int one is good as well, but he's one that builds up over time, whereas the Tech one and the AGL one are just super, super good tanks right from the beginning. You can park them in front of all the attacks, and they're just not really going to take any damage. So, very, very solid option for the team. But then that leads us into this man right here. So, AGL LR Full Power Frieza leads Sworn Enemies or Planet Namek Saga. So, almost every Frieza is on this. And then, of course, Planet Namek Saga, we already looked at the Int Exchange Vegeta and Goku LR that are on Gifted Warriors. So you can very easily make a full Gifted Warriors team under this guy's leader skill. And obviously he has a very good leader skill, 170 to attack and HP, 150 to defense. Very, very powerful unit. Obviously better against super class enemies as well, so he gets that buff. He has his active skill that you can use against a super class enemy, so you can use this as a finisher to just finish off the final turn. So this guy, really, really powerful. If you're not running the 200% Margin Vegeta team and you have this guy, this might actually be the most powerful way to do it, right? Just run this guy as a leader and then run like these Friezas and some other Friezas, including this guy right here, the Int 3rd Form Frieza. He's the Sworn Enemies 40% support unit. Once he gets off a couple of supers, his defense is really, really good. Then obviously the rotation of him and LR Full Power Frieza together is incredibly powerful. Even if you don't have LR Full Power Frieza and you have, say, this guy and you're running him as a leader for the Extreme team, just a rotation of this guy and this guy together is going to be ridiculously powerful. So there are a couple of ways to get around building a really powerful team for this event, even if you don't have Margin Vegeta or a bunch of the other Vegeta units, or even a leader that actually has Gifted Warriors as a leader skill. So those are the top picks and honorable mentions. If we have a quick scroll down here, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta obviously doesn't have his Easy A yet on global, and he's got type disadvantage. Same reason why I didn't mention these guys. I mean, Prime Battle Frieza could still be pretty good, but he's not going to be tanking very well in the later stages. Demon King Piccolo is okay, but doesn't really fit in well with anyone else on the team. Obviously, Great Ape Vegeta would be a great choice, but he's not out on global yet either. Mars Saiyan is on here, the Black Mars Saiyan Vegeta, but he's only really good when there's other heroes units around him, so he's probably not all that worth bringing. The Great Ape Vegeta that got his Easy A is pretty decent on the 200% team. Obviously, AGL Golden Frieza, who we mentioned. I should have mentioned AGL Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, though. He's actually really good. He can link up well with, of course, the Int GT Vegeta, so he's very good. This Piccolo is a support unit for Planet Namek Saga. So I guess technically, even if you're running the Full Power Frieza team, you could bring him, because he's tech, he's got some good healing. So, again, good for an Easy A where you can't use items. Exchange Boo could be pretty good, especially if you're running the Tech Frieza as lead and you just want to run an Extreme team. so he could be pretty solid as well. I didn't really talk about any STR units because of the type disadvantage, but Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta would be pretty good. Super Vegeta obviously gets guaranteed crits, so the type disadvantage for him doesn't matter. Also, this in base form Vegeta that I just did the video for, just Easy Aid, he's really, really good as well. Xeno Vegeta, of course, is a perfect choice if you are running a very Vegeta family heavy team, because he provides that 40% support. So, I mean, I think you can see, just by looking at the list and some of the leader options that we've gone over, if you have the right units, like this Easy Aid will be very, very easy. So, let me know what you guys think down below. Like I said at the beginning, if there's any units you think I missed or I should have talked about more, let me know down below in the comment section. And let me know what your team build is going to look like for this Easy A. And hopefully I will see you at the stream where we beat all 10 stages live once it comes out. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store. And I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.